What's up, my friend? Welcome back to another video, and today we are taking a first look at the brand new library from Orchestral Tools called Salu. So yeah, this library is kind of like a follow-up to the Tallinn library they released earlier, and it's really focused on those quieter, more intimate moments featuring string quartet, there's choir, there's canal, harp, and piano. There's a bunch of sound design. So it kind of evokes that inspiration from the Estonia region, and then putting that all into a sample library, really delving again into those intimate, quiet type of articulations and moments. And so I'm really excited to dive into it with you. Big thanks to OT for sending me a copy, as well as giving 2 copies away for a giveaway. So again, we'll go over those details at the very end in case you're unaware of how this works. But without further ado, let me just go over some of these patches. There's so many of them, so there's no way I can get into all of them, but I will definitely hear a lot of the legato for sure, and the choir here as well. And then I've loaded in a separate signed player instance for the sound design and the percussion. So without further ado, let me start with the string quartet. Let me quickly just show you what the folder structure looks like. So we have strings, voices, plucked, and keys, percussion, and processed, which is obviously the sound design. For the strings, we have string quartet, which has the basic articulations of legato, sustains, octave sustains and legato, portato, staccato, spiccato, pizzicato, tremolo, and then some dynamics, crescendos, swells, and then there's arpeggios and irregular articulations as well. So repetitions, crescendos, slow accents, and then flybys, they call it, which is cool. Then they've also sampled a solo viola and solo cello with legato, the typical articulations, and then with those kind of cool articulations as well, with circular bowing as well being one of them. And then the other ones, for the voices, we have female ensemble, main articulations, and special articulations. So let's take a look here. The main articulations would be sustains. We have some shorts as well, syllable short, crescendos, again, dynamics, and then swells. And then for the special articulations, those would include buzzing, drifts, irregular stuff, cascading vowels, cluster pads, cascades. So a whole bunch of cool stuff. And then, yeah, we have solo alto and solo basso as well, so bass and alto, and then we have the irregular articulations here as well. So it looks like for the solo instruments, they really just focused on kind of the lower regions, because the higher you go, naturally, maybe the harsher it is, or just the more bright it gets. But again, this library focuses more on the darker, warm instruments and articulations, right? So alto and basso are definitely the lower voices in the different genders. And then we have the solo viola and cello being kind of the mid to low strings as well. Okay, so let's dive into the string quartet. Let me just play through legato here, and we'll go through. So yes, as in terms of the the mic possessions really quickly, I've just basically downloaded a couple sets here. They give you a whole bunch you can choose from as usual, but I downloaded the spot one, and I also downloaded the main cardioid as well, just for a little bit of depth. So the spot usually is meant for the close detail, and the cardioid or tree or omni mics are meant for more of that room sound. So when you blend them in together, you can kind of create your own mic mix there. Okay, let's dive into the legato for the string quartet. Here we go. So as you can hear, a very warm, close, intimate sound there. Let's actually move on to the viola here. So yeah, this is the playable range, as you can see, right? And again, we're just going to use the legato here. So let's have a quick listen here. All right, so those are the solo strings there as well. So the solo viola really reminds me of the one from CSSS, but with a little bit more restraint, not as much vibrato, which is nice. It's a more neutral sound, so it's more applicable to more situations, right? And the vibrato is naturally a bit more progressive as well, so it's not as passionate. Again, there's definitely a sweet, more reserved tone to it, as opposed to being completely out there and super romantic. This library really hones in on, again, that contained, focused type of sound, right? Now, there are a couple of dynamic layers there. If I'm not mistaken, maybe two, max three. So if you do crossfade between them, you might hear a little bit of that chorus phasey effect. So just be careful of that when you program that in. It's always a good idea to go in and edit your performance post-recording. But just be aware that having those dynamic layers is a good flexible option, but you might hear some of that phasing if you do cross over that with your mod wheel. So those are the solo strings. Let's actually move now on to the choir. So we'll start with the female choir legato. Here is what that sounds like. All right, so there's the choir. So yeah, the last couple of patches there were the solo alto and the solo bass, but you generally get the idea. So yeah, more on the drier side for sure. Even though I was mainly just using the cardioid microphones, I don't think I really had any spot microphones in there. Yeah, it looks like it's just the main cardioid, so it's just that. Still pretty dry, but you get an idea of those sounds. Really interesting though, like those special articulations, you can really have a lot of fun there. And that's, I think, where this library kind of sets itself apart, is having the ability to play around with those kind of special articulations, all those repetitions, those swells, those tick-tocks they call it, cascading vowels, all that stuff. You can have fun there. I tend to use the instruments a bit more traditionally myself, so I probably wouldn't use these a whole ton. But if there was a case that called for it, it's just nice to have that option for sure. Let's actually move on now to the plucked and the keys. So we have the canal, harp, and piano. So let me just play those three together, and then we'll hear the canal itself, the harp itself, and the piano itself. So here we go. All right. So a set of lovely instruments there. I actually think the piano is one of the highlights of this library. Just such a warm, beautiful sound. And then the harp and the canal have a really beautiful texture as well. But for me, that piano is just something. So let's move on now to the percussion. And we've also got the sound design as well. So let's just take a look here really quickly. Also really cool. I love that the sign player is adjustable in terms of the size. Always a nice feature. Okay, percussion. So we have tubular bells, we have Glock and crotales, Glock and, as well as those separated by themselves. We have also vibraphone, chimes, thunder sheet, tam-tam, grand casa, which is like a bass drum, timpani, and the wind gong. So let's just hear a few of these here. So we'll start with the tubular bells. Yeah, here we go. There we go. That's just a quick look at the percussion there. So again, quite delicate articulations. And for most of these, you get a combination of mallets. You get soft, medium, and hard. For most of these, I was just using like soft and medium mallets there. just to stay true to the vision of this library. Okay, let's finally move on to the processed folder. And so now here we have different, I guess, categories of these sound design patches: icy, evolving, dream state, tense, dark, and plucked. So just by those names, you can kind of tell what the sounds you're kind of expecting here. And then you can see there are tons and tons they can go from. I'm just going to go with a few of them here and just play through. So let's start with Lucid Glass and go all the way through to Icicle Bells. Here we go. All right. So really quickly, just in order, in case you're maybe listening to this without watching the video, those all in order I was playing: Lucid Glass, then Forest Glade, then Wind Chimes, then From the Tallest Branch, Turn Wheel Turn, Dead Branches, Friction Builds, Storm Damage, and then finally Icicle Bells. So those are just a couple, right? A few of those sound design elements. But you can see this library, again, really just focuses on that close-up, intimate vibe that you really get from the Talon series, right? So really, really interesting library and kind of a nice continuation in this series. In terms of favorite patches, if I had to really choose, I might say that the viola is definitely a standout for me, as well as the choir as well. I think the female choir and the male choir have a really beautiful sound. you know, I mean, Orchestral Tools is typically very good in sampling choirs anyway, but those are just a couple of standout patches for myself. And hopefully you start to pick up maybe a couple of instruments or patches that you enjoyed yourself. So speaking of which, let's kind of dive into the giveaway really quickly. There's typically 3 rules you just need to do to enter. The first one is to fill out the form below in the description box, enter your details there, and you will be entered into the system to potentially win a copy of this library. Just note that from signing up for this giveaway, you'll also be subscribed to my email list where I can send you free content, composing content to help you with your musical journey every single week, and also share with you some exclusive content that sorry, I don't share anywhere else. So it's definitely a great perk for entering this giveaway. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is to leave a comment under this video letting me know what you would use this library for. It's always a pleasure reading kind of the music that you write and what you like to use these libraries for. So definitely let me know there as well in under this video. And then third and finally, just leave a like on the video. It's always helpful and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you so much. Best of luck. Again, thank you to OT for giving away 2 copies. I look forward to sharing the results with you via email. So definitely enter if you're interested in winning a copy of this library. All right, I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks again, my friends, and take care. Bye-bye.